We're back now with a deeper look at the impact of one of President Trump's earliest executive orders, the one that's having a broad impact on the transgender community. Just hours into his new administration, President Trump issued an order declaring the U.S. government will recognize only two sexes, male and female. As a result, the State Department confirmed to NBC News it is no longer issuing U.S. passports with X gender markers, which are preferred by many non-binary people. The State Department also not processing applications for those trying to change the gender on their passport or get new ones that reflect their gender, not the sex assigned at birth. For more, let's bring in Ashton Colby, a transgender advocate, someone we've spoken with often on this show before. Ashton, good to see you. So, this order went into effect immediately for all applications that were currently in progress, any future applications. Talk about how this is quickly playing out in the real world. What are you hearing from people?
Yes, people who are like me, who are transgender. Right now, I can't get a passport that says male on it. I have to get a passport that says female on it. It's really inappropriate for me to have a female passport. These are real people. I'm transgender. I'm a real person. These are real documents that I have to hold and show to people. It's completely inappropriate to try to block me from being exactly who I am. And right now they're pending a lot of applications. They're holding people's documents. They're sending documents back to transgender people that don't match their gender identity, their gender expression. It's a complete dehumanization of transgender people.
And there are a number of families, especially who have young transgender kids who are about to start gender-affirming care or in the middle of gender-affirming care. And we know they've been looking to get passports in case they feel like they have to go to another country to get that care or continue that care, and they're not able to do that right now. Talk about some of the impacts that you're seeing if people can't get the passports or the documentation that they need.
There is a history of transgender people before we could change our passports of getting detained, of getting strip searched, of getting harassed. The dignity and privacy goes out the window when you're a transgender person and you hand someone a document that doesn't match who you are. So these young people, I pray for them every night. I know what they're going through is something that they'll get to the point in their life where I am, where I'm a happy transgender adult, exactly who I'm meant to be. So I speak to them, hang in there. There's people that love you, who you are, and we're gonna be all right.
Ashton, talk about if you are traveling, you're non-binary or transgender, and either your passport doesn't match your identity or how does this play out, and how big of a safety concern can it be for people when they are traveling out of the country?
Right. So my Ohio State driver's license says male on it. My old passport says female on it, and it looks like a young woman that I'm not anymore. And so I'm holding mismatched documents, male for state in my birth certificate and my license, female on my passport. It's very inappropriate for me to use the women's restroom. The same reason I need to have a male passport is the same reason it's inappropriate for me to use the female restroom at this point in my transition, years and years and years into who I am. And I'm supposed to out myself. It's about privacy and dignity for me to be able to change my passport to male. Look, do you want me in the female restroom? That's not where I should be.
What do you think needs to happen right now to address? This executive order has created a number of situations and problems that need to be addressed. How would you like to see things move forward, considering that politically right now, President Trump is the president, Republicans control Congress. The courts could be the folks who decide to make some changes here. But what do you want to see happen to address some of the issues this has created?
I would love to see the president and his advisors to sit down with actual transgender people over a cup of coffee across the table, looking at each other, shaking each other's hands, actually seeing the humanity of what it means to be transgender. And when you take a moment to actually meet a trans person, actually hear about their life story, if you have any empathy in your heart, you start to open up and realize I had to go through a lot to get to this place where I am. And I'm so happy that I am here. But to just try to legislate me out of existence, I don't know if I don't know if Donald Trump has ever had a cup of coffee with a transgender man like me before.
You know, about 5 years ago, the Supreme Court came down with a landmark ruling essentially saying that when it comes to employment, transgender people can't be discriminated against. Do you have faith that if this gets to the Supreme Court that they'll come down on your side?
That's what I hope, and that's what I pray about. I hope that we realize that every person has the basic human right to have documents that reflect exactly who they are. And I still have faith in the Supreme Court. I trust in my gut that there is a sense of respect and realizing that transgender Americans, it's Americans that just happen to be transgender, deserve dignity, respect. It's something that should be recognized legally.
Ashton Colby, we appreciate your time this morning, and we will continue to have this conversation over this issue that's impacting so many Americans right now.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.